G'day, Sam.
G'day, Kim.
This is about the third take we're starting.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. All right. So my name's Kim, so I'm the ICN president, and I'm here with Sam Mussared, one of the Adelaide's top coaches, prep coaches.
We do okay.
We do it.
We do it.
You do okay. And we thought we would just do a comp podcast, just talking about the comps, competing, getting ready for a comp. We'll talk a little bit about your business. We'll talk about how the ICN works.
Yep. How to be a competitor.
And how to be a good competitor.
A good competitor.
Good competitor. I think that's one of the key topics that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
So as quickly as a background, I've been promoting the ICN since 2000. So this is our 24th year.
Yeah, that's good.
And moving up, next year's 25. So we'll have to do something special for next year, definitely.
Yes.
And we run I'm going to say it. We run the biggest show in the state.
You do?
Yeah.
Yep. I've never seen a bigger show. Not here in Adelaide.
Yeah. And we run some of the biggest shows in the country.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, so we had more competitors in our last show than Victoria had in their shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mean season B?
Season A.
Even that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just now, our season A show was one of the biggest ones.
Well, there's bits that from our last one where we kept screwing up with the recording. Like, season A is normally always smaller than season B.
Yes.
So season A, you normally yield around how many competitors in the show?
Oh, look, anywhere between 60 to 90.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And then
I don't think we've ever gone over 100 in season A, but we've been in the 90s.
I remember the 90s a few times.
Yeah.
And then season B normally yields anywhere from 100 to 140.
Yes.
What's the most we've had?
147 is the most we had, and that was most probably 10 years ago now.
Yep. I think that was when sports model was kind of introduced.
I think it was around that time when fitness model and bikini and all of that stuff came.
Yeah, because it used to be just bikini with multiple different.
Well, there wasn't even when I first started the ICN, there was no such thing as bikini or sports model or fitness model. It was only bodybuilding and figure, and that was it.
Wow.
So yeah, quickly as a rundown, my first comp back in 2000, I had 15 competitors.
That's small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it slowly grew from that, and there was a lot of guys in the audience who said, "Oh, I just came here to have a look," and and then they all came afterwards and said, "Oh, I'll be back next year." And we moved up to about 20 the following year, and and it slowly grew from there.
Well, the industry's changed a lot, even from when I've been in it since 2010.
Yeah,
like the numbers have substantially increased.
Back then, bodybuilding shows were two shows. You'd have prejudging in the morning.
Yep.
There'd be a break during the day, and then you'd have the finals at night.
I did a few of those shows.
Yeah, which was
just
the
before
presentation.
They changed it.
And basically, pretty much nobody came to the prejudging except your mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe your mum came to watch you, but nobody came. Nobody sort of cared about coming to the prejudging. Mm-hmm. They only came then to the night show. Yeah, it was an event. Like, it really was an event. People got dressed up. The show would start at 7 o'clock and go through till about 10. And the good thing about back then was that nobody had any idea who was competing, except you knew the people at your gym that were competing.
Yep.
There was no internet. There was nothing like that. There was no social media. So
MySpace.
You used to go to the comps to see who was competing.
Yeah.
And it started off, with teenagers and juniors and so forth, and you waited till the open to see who was competing.
I would say this then, social media has definitely made the competitions grow because people see it more.
It's definitely made it grow. And you see that all the time with a lot of people, they have never been to a comp.
Yep.
They see the pictures on social media.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's grown a lot.
Yeah. So, that's how the shows used to be run. And basically the night show was just the glitzy presentation part of it. The competitors would do their routines only at the night show, and then the awards would happen, and that was it.
But the auditorium would normally stay pretty busy that whole time.
It would stay full the whole time, from the beginning right till the end, because of that surprise element. Everyone was waiting for the opens in both the females and the males because they had no idea who was competing.
Whereas now, we were talking about it the other day, people come to watch their friend or their relative compete, and then they leave. They don't watch the rest of the show.
And in terms of what's changed, like then Wayne McDonald, who is the ICN world president, he owns ICN. He sort of said, I think we should all move to one-show formats. And that is that the judging, the presentation, everything happens in one hit.
Yeah.
Rather than having the pre-judging and the evening show separate. And I sort of thought, no, that'll never work. Yeah. And that's one thing I've learned to say is never say no, because there's so many things I said will never work. When bikini came in, I said, that's never going to work.
Yeah, it's the biggest part of
comps. And it really, in all honesty, the female component, the bikini competitors, the sports model, the fitness model, they have saved bodybuilding.
Yeah,
they really have. Without it, if that wasn't around, if bodybuilding shows were still just figure and bodybuilding, I think they would have died a long time ago, or gone even more just underground into dingy venues and things like that. Because it's the female competitors are now 60 to 70% of a show.
Yeah.
And that's not just ICN, that's every federation.
Yeah. But so this is where the reason why we wanted to make this talk is then like, why are people competing?
Yep.
And if it's a lot of females, a lot of them aren't competing for the right reason.
Well, no, I agree. Yeah, it seems to be a bucket list.
Bucket list of I need to do. Yeah, a bucket list of I want to compete just for the sake of competing. That's cool kind of thing, right? Yep. A lot of people use that as like, I'll compete to get myself lean, and then they generally just go backwards really, really fast.
That's right. And generally, just because you've lost 30 kilos, which is very admirable, it really doesn't mean that you should either step onto a stage and compete either.
Not if you're not mentally ready for, like it's a bodybuilding competition still at its core, right? So you're judged on your physique.
That's right.
And if you aren't in a good mindset and like happy with your physique, then no matter what, if you don't get the first place win, you're instantly going to be like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
This is shit. Why did I do this? I'm useless. And then you're just going to be heaps negative.
Yeah. But as bodybuilders, I'm a former bodybuilder competitor. You're still a current. You're never happy with your physique.
No, always.
But that doesn't mean that you're mentally in a bad place.
No, well, even for myself, from when I started competing to then the now version of me, my life has definitely changed, and my vision of how I compete has changed.
Yeah,
I don't care about my placing anymore. Like, it's a bonus. Like, if I win or lose, I don't give a shit. I just want to be better than what I did previously.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, then I can stand on stage and be like, well, yeah, I did what I needed to do to be here, and I'm happy with it. Happy with the outcome regardless of that placing. Because I don't need to feel validated by a particular position to make me feel worthy of me.
Yep.
And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, because it's like only one person in each division is the winner.
That's right.
So there's more losers than there is winners in the division.
There's heaps more losers. Unless you're competing in a small fringe show where everyone wins.
Yeah. There's a few of them.
But that's a totally different topic.
Yeah. A lot of people take that placing to heart of like, I suck. I'm not good enough. And then they end up never competing again. Yeah.
I think to compete in bodybuilding, you need to have an athlete mindset.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And an athlete wants to win, wants to improve. A runner, they want to run faster. If they lose their event, they're not going to go into the corner. They might be upset for a little while, but in the end, they'll go back and start training again, start trying to beat the clock and trying to beat their time. Yeah. And that's the same in every sport. You obviously want to improve in your sport. Mm-hmm. And bodybuilding's the same.
Self-improvement.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate sport of not really doing a sport.
Yep.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another topic, like, is bodybuilding a sport? We won't go into that. But look, you train just as hard as any athlete in terms of your commitment to the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, if not even harder.
Well, shit, last prep, I was doing 2 hours of cardio a day and weight training for an hour and a half to 2 hours every day.
Yeah, but then the rest of the time, the rest of the 21 hours that are left is dedicated to sticking to your nutrition plan.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is a selfish sport.
So it is a 24-hour commitment. It's not just
I'm gonna
like a football player will go and train for 3 or 4, 2 hours or whatever. They can go to the pub and have a schnitty and a beer with their mates.
Can't do that.
No.
Shit. I can't remember the last time I had a beer. Or even a schnitty since...
Well, but you know what I'm trying to say. So the commitment in bodybuilding, I think, is it's more than in some sports.
It requires a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just getting back to that, what you said about competing and coming back. It took me 20 years to win my first show. And that's the other issue we find, that I find, and I'm sure you see it, is that competitors expect to win straight away.
Yeah, this is what I really try to instill within my clients is like someone comes to see me, I'm like, have you ever been to a bodybuilding competition? And most of them say no.
That's right.
Like, well, firstly, you should go watch one so you get an idea of what you actually meant to look like. Because then you're going to see the realistic expectation of like, this is what I look like, that's what I need to look like.
The photos you see on stage is just the glamour part of it.
Yeah.
So
even being realistic by going like, this is, we're going to tangent a bit here, but going to the posing classes that are run by Esther, the head judge, and Janelle, one of the other judges, going to those group classes, you're not an idiot. You can see yourself standing next to the other people that you're going to be competing against. And so then you've got to have a realistic expectation of the outcome because you can see it. You can see everyone changing week to week.
That's right.
So like by going to those two, you're going to get the knowledge of where you're at in comparison to the other people. Sure, like on the day, there's always those minor changes, the tan, posing might be a bit better and all of that kind of jazz, but be realistic of the outcome.
Yeah.
Where were we before that? Because I totally tangented it off.
No, well, that's good. That's what we're all on about here.
Yeah.
Look, so in the end, I think we have to be realistic of our expectations.
Yeah.
And work towards either improving them, or if it was a bucket list, well, that's fine. You've done it, but it doesn't define who you are as a person.
Yep. So I digress. We're going back to where it was. So when people come to see me and they're like, I want to compete. And then a lot of them say, I want to win a sword because we have swords here in South Australia. It's like, cool. I can't guarantee you a sword. I can guarantee that we try to get you in your best position, but I can't guarantee the outcome because there could be someone that's been training for 30 years in the dungeon somewhere. That's right. And all of a sudden they come out from nowhere and they're competing with you.
Yeah.
And then they're obviously then going to win. They've got all this experience, all this muscle mass, their condition's great. So then it's like, well, I'm not going to be the winner. Are you then going to feel like you're not worthy?
That's right.
Kind of thing. It's like, you've got to be realistic.
Yeah.
And the place.
And in the end, it's not your fault as a coach that they don't win a sword.
That's happened heaps of times. Why didn't I win?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing our best.
Yeah. And it is. On the day on stage, there's nothing you can do if that person is better than you.
Nothing.
You can't jump higher. You can't run faster.
No.
Yeah, and I've been there. I've been there many times when I used to compete. I've been standing on the stage and during the comparison slowly being moved out to the end.
Yeah.
And standing there knowing that, I'm nowhere near the placings.
Yeah, I know what that feels like.
And it's a terrible feeling.
All of that work pushed to the side.
Yeah. And it is. As a promoter, that's the worst experience for me. I like shaking everyone's hand on stage. I like congratulating and thanking everyone for competing. And those people who aren't on the podium, when we award them just the participation medal, I can see in their eyes the disappointment.
Totally.
And I hate that part because I wish everyone could be a winner, but you can't, unfortunately.
Yep. Unfortunately, then I know that you get a lot of backlash from it of like, I didn't place, judging's rigged.
That's right.
Fuck this federation, I'm not doing this one again because I got shunned or something like that, right? And that's not the kind of behavior that's acceptable. I mean, like if you compete, you don't know where everyone else that you're standing next to, where they started, what they've achieved, the adversaries that they've had to, face to get to where they are too. So you can't go, dismissing how they've achieved that result.
That's right.
So being humble in your, victory and defeat.
And defeat, exactly right.
Yeah, your decorum on stage, it shows. And especially like here in Adelaide, for instance, or in any state show that you do, states are small. The same people go to these competitions and they're going to remember it. So like how you behave is, it's there.
That's right. And it's there forever because it's filmed.
Yeah.
It's filmed, it's photographed.
Yep.
I have all of my shows are filmed. One for posterity, I think it's important.
I have all of my DVDs.
But the competitors can get all of these films, and in the end, that is recorded onto the film as well.
Yeah.
It's there forever.
Yes.
Okay. One of the best things I think, and we say this at the seminar, is that on the day of the comp, on the night of the comp, don't go on social media.
No.
don't go posting on social media.
No.
You know, just
wait.
Just wait a few days, and usually when you wake up the next day, and you'll see other photos, you can sort of see that, okay, they were right. Yeah, you know. But on the day, it is very emotional because all your family and friends think you got ripped off.
Yep.
You know, and in some cases, your coach might think you're being ripped off.
They're not the judges.
You know, but you know, just chill back a little bit, go have your meal with your family and friends.
Yep, let it soak in properly.
Yeah, and let it soak in, because usually 24 to 48 hours later, you can see it, everything in a different light.
Yeah, you don't need that validation on social media to make you feel a particular way. It's already in you.
That's right.
So like, yeah, after competing, I like to step back and be like, oh,
yeah,
it's done. I did what was required. This is what I look like. Cool. Now I'm going to sit and reflect on that and then act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you brought up before just brought something on me that hits me hard sometimes. You spoke about, you know, some competitors get the shits on them and rag the federation and et cetera and won't come back.
It's Kim's fault.
Yeah, and I see that. I've seen that a few times in the 25 years that I've been promoting.
You're standing on the side as the MC. I don't see how people can correlate that, but yeah.
Yeah, but in the end, I'm the promoter. I run the ICN, and it somehow ends up being my fault, or I overrule the judges or whatever. And I find it disappointing because sometimes it's a really, really good competitor.
Yeah.
And they get the shits on with me or the ICN.
Yep.
And won't come back and compete. And you see them going into other fringe shows and winning because they're the only competitor.
Which is defeating. Like it sucks.
Which I can't understand that how they then find that somehow rewarding either. You know?
No.
If you honestly think you got upset with me or the federation, come back in a condition and shape that is undeniable that you can't lose. You know?
But even if you do lose.
That's right.
As long as you were better than you previously did. That's
exactly
so
right.
good.
Yeah, that's right. And nothing also then excites me more is when I see
improvement.
Past competitors come back after 2 or 3 years, taking all the feedback on from the judges.
Yep.
And come back vastly improved and either win or place a lot higher than they did before.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting, and that's the really good part about running comps.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll see when I run the next show and entries start coming in, I'll see, wow, that guy, and I'll look back because I can see when I compete, I can see everyone's history and say they were 4 years ago, and they're still training and they're coming back.
Yeah.
So
there's a few people, even myself, I had some clients that have won overalls and then they never compete again. It's like you've got really good potential. You've done great in this sport. You could keep improving. And a lot of them are just like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah. And so many good competitors have done it once and then never come back again.
I think a lot of them would be like, they don't really have a good reason as to why they did it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I like competing because I truly love this sport. I love presenting myself on stage. That's my favorite part, the presentation. I like posing. I like displaying my physique. I like seeing self-improvement. The bodybuilding part's just a bonus. Yeah. So like for me coming back, I not just to show competitor the judges and people in the audience the performance, it's for me. I'm doing this for me.
Well, I was the same when I was competing.
Yeah.
There was nothing better than improving. And like I said, it took me 20 years of competing, trying, coming back, starting from not placing to slowly moving into the placings. Back then, it was only the top 3. It took me about 5 years before I got a 3rd place. I stuck in 3rd place for years. And then 20 years later, I finally won my show.
Yep.
But at the same time, one of my most memorable experiences is a 2nd place in a show where I made my comeback at 50, and I went into an open class with 8 other guys who were all in their mid-20s, 30s, and I placed 2nd.
Yeah.
And that was more memorable than on the same day I won the Masters.
That was 2012, wasn't it?
Hey?
2012?
Yeah. And that was, I won
City
the Masters.
titles, right?
No, this was a Geelong show, regional show.
Okay.
So I went and competed in Geelong, then I went to Melbourne, competed in Melbourne. I won the Masters in both of those, but in Geelong I came 2nd in the Open as well.
Yeah.
But then the following year we went with you to Sydney and competed in the Sydney Nationals.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I had a good time there.
Yeah.
I remember this one guy backstage. He had like an entourage of people.
Yeah.
He had like a full-up pump bar set, like a barbell. He had like people fanning him and shit. was pretty funny.
Remember, and then we were driving around trying to find a McDonald's that was open.
Oh, yeah, that was horrible.
In the morning, because we wanted to get a cheeseburger.
Yeah, just
cheeseburger. Cheeseburger before we went on stage. And
My
we
how
couldn't
things
find
have
a
changed.
McDonald's that was open.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll digressing back, yeah, a lot of people need to look at their why are they competing.
Yeah.
Focus on that a bit more. Like, why are you really competing?
Yeah. And look, if you want to do it as a bucket list, that's great too.
Sweet.
But then,
Good memories.
like you said, don't let it define you.
Exactly. You don't need to compete and then, like, winning or losing, it doesn't validate. You don't need that validation to feel, like, successful or, like, worthy within yourself. You can instantly change how you feel about yourself.
That's right.
In your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sucks. Like, as a coach, like, I want people to enjoy their experience on the day. And some people take that placing to heart, you know, like being pushed to the side or they get second place and so forth. And they're like, oh, what did I do wrong? And it's rather than like immersing yourself in the actual day, they just turn into a negative sad sack. It's horrible to see. It's like, I just want to slap them and be like, come on, like, this is why you did all of that work and like you did a good job and you look amazing. Like, this is what you need to be focusing on, not just a placing.
That's right.
You don't need someone to. You don't need to be the winner to feel like your people are going to like you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be a good note to finish on. And I think we'll most probably film a couple of more episodes because we didn't touch on half the stuff I thought about.
Heaps of questions too.
Hey?
Heaps of questions.
We've got heaps of questions.
Let them build them up.
But I'll keep all these questions. You need to go pick up your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prepping with 3 kids.
So what we'll do is we'll upload this video. We'll sort of get some of your feedback. We'll get some more questions. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Because we've got this still, we didn't touch on half the stuff that we spoke about.
Yeah, I think we're going to need more time.
Yeah. All right. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you've got any ideas for a name for this podcast.
Yeah, shoot them through.
Shoot them through.
Shoot them through? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did we think of Thursday Thunder?
Hey?
Thursday Thunder when we started that yonks ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, shit. And it stuck. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
Anyway, thanks, Sam. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Send us through the ICN page, ICN South Australia on Instagram, or Sam Mussared on Instagram. Any questions you want us to answer, we'll do another one of these next week because, yeah, even if people didn't like it too much, we still got a few more things to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye.